Greetings, St. Paul's family and friends. You've probably stopped and stared at it more than once. The stained glass window set like a jewel above the balcony. It isn't a famous rose window, but here at St. Paul's we call it the Gauss window. Donated in 1888 by the children of Samuel and Carolyn Gauss, it honors a couple who helped start this church back in 1858. Think about that for a second. A single slice of glass, color, and light has been doing its quiet work for well over a century, connecting faces from another time to the ones who sit here now. Windows do simple things. They bring light in. They frame a scene. They turn dust particles into paintings. But the Gauss window points to something less architectural and more human. Legacy. Legacy is the long thread of influence people leave behind, the ripple effect that stretches beyond one lifetime. In a place like St. Paul's, you see that thread woven into pews, printed programs, and the way the choir sings. Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes you miss it if you're rushing by. Some legacies feel almost spirit-like. Former rectors and lay leaders leave traces in the rhythms of worship, and how outreach is organized in small traditions that never got written down but are followed anyway. Other legacies are literal and tangible. Plaques, carved wood, embroidered linens, the little fixtures and ornaments that make a sanctuary feel like home. Many of those items came as gifts in memory of loved ones, families choosing in a very human way to say, "We remember," and "This matters." Walk through the church and you'll find names and dates tucked into corners, little markers of lives that cared enough to leave something behind. There's another kind of legacy that doesn't sit on a shelf or hang on a wall. Planned gifts. These are promises people build into estate plans so that when their own chapter ends, another can begin for the church. We call that legacy giving, and it's quietly powerful. It's often why the music program stays vibrant year after year, why unexpected repairs get fixed without panic, why the church can hire an architect when a renovation is needed or fund an outreach program that didn't fit into last year's budget. Here's a practical truth. The operating fund and annual pledges are essential, but they don't always cover everything. Buildings age. Instruments need upkeep. New opportunities appear that weren't in last year's plan. Legacy gifts give the margin that lets leaders plan ahead rather than scramble to react. They let us imagine a future that honors the past while meeting present needs. And we've been blessed by that generosity. Over the last 4 years, several members have told us they have included St. Paul's in their estate plans. And those commitments change how we plan and dream. When people say, "This church is part of my story and I want it to continue," it gives the parish the confidence to be bolder with programming, maintenance, and faithful service. That's why we honor those who make such commitments. Legacy isn't about wealth for its own sake. It's about responsibility, gratitude, and a desire to pass something meaningful forward. It's about standing in a long line of people who loved this place enough to leave it better than they found it. To celebrate and say thank you, we're gathering on Sunday at 4 p.m. for a special choral evensong followed by an afternoon reception. During the service, we'll honor the newest members of the 1858 Circle, a group who have remembered St. Paul's in their estate plans and named after the year St. Paul's was founded. It's a gentle, reverent event. Music, prayer, and a moment to express gratitude out loud. If you can, come. Show up not only to applaud those who've committed to the church's future, but to witness what legacy looks like in practice. People standing with the past and investing in tomorrow. Before you click away from the video or move on with your day, hold a question that Dean Michael Wright asked last year. Is God's will in yours? It's both stirring and practical. Maybe it leads to a conversation about estate planning. Maybe it sparks a quiet prayer about what matters most, or maybe it simply gives you a fresh look at that patch of colored light. on the floor. So the next time sunlight pours through the Gauss window and paints the aisle with color, remember, it's more than decoration. It's a reminder that people before us loved this place enough to pass it along. We have a part to play in that chain. If that moves you, come to Evensong on Sunday at 4 p.m. Come say thank you, and come add your presence to the legacy of St. Paul's.